Hello, Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. How are you?
Don't
Hi,
know.
Deb.
You.
Your new film, Death of a Unicorn, it comes out on the 4th of April. This has got one of the biggest twists I've seen in a really long time. I don't think I'll ever look at unicorns the same way ever again. Jenna, did you have any reservations about doing a film that would forever change the way we think about unicorns? Or do you reckon it's about time they had a bit of an image makeover?
It's funny because according to Alex Sharfman, the super smart writer and director and creator of this thing, this is his brainchild. Apparently, it's quite truthful to what the lore and idea that surrounded unicorns was back in the day in medieval times.
There's some incredible familiar faces in this. One of my favourites, the amazing Richard E. Grant, who, do you know one of my favourite facts is that he keeps a diary? Do you think he wrote about either of you in his diary during this?
I do. I think he
Yeah.
did.
I think I don't know.
He's published his bits of his diaries. I've read, with you, a
Yeah.
big fan of Richard E. Grant, and I've read many things that he's written. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think that he has and that he wrote about it.
You'd be surprised. He's a very honest, truthful, just unfiltered person. So I feel like, if anything, the things we were hearing from him on set was probably in reference to what he had already written. And maybe he's coming up with lines like, "Ah, that's a good one," and then would, dish them out the next day and see how they played.
You might be right, Jenna.
That's
true.
That's for the second book he's bringing out. Jenna, do you have something like Richard's diary that you stick to consistently, or is like a sort of daily practice?
Not necessarily. I used to be a really big, or not used to be. I'm kind of falling out of it right now because I finished my notebook and I've been delaying getting a new one. But I do love to journal. I do love to write, but it's not always a daily practice. I only write when I feel the urge to write. So I may not write for days, and then I may write 4 times in one day. It doesn't really depend. And then I'm trying to meditate. And that's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm getting quite good at it now. And I think I have to start my day that way. Otherwise, I don't know, it explains kind of my anxiety in recent years. So it's been nice to kind of deal with that in a peaceful manner.
That is incredible. We're really big on routine and sort of winding down because we're on in the evening. Paul, do you have an evening routine, a way of sort of like decompressing after a long day?
I find that I really like going to sleep earlier than I used to. Now, because I'm 100 years old, if 8:30 p.m. rolls around, I'm like, is this too early to go to bed? Am I going to wake up at 4 a.m. now because it's too early, or 4 a.m.? 4 a.m. I'm okay with. 2 a.m. is the one problem. But I don't really have a set routine. I would say if a morning routine, coffee, and I'll usually try and do the crossword puzzle to get my brain going.
I really like that. And what about you, Jenna? Do you have a evening routine or a sort of like go-to to unwind?
It's quite difficult because we're always traveling for work, and it's always a new environment, and whatever the job is, you kind of have to create a new routine that you can only really stick to for 6 weeks, because then you're off to the next one. I would say that I feel like I get more accomplished at night, because in the morning I don't really want to flood my brain with too many other things if I have work coming up. I'll focus on that, and then I too feel the need to go to bed around 8 p.m., 8:30, but I don't, because it's the only time I can get things done. So I usually find myself up late reading scripts, answering emails, doing things like that. Also, when I'm tired, I have pretty intense OCD. So I have a lot of, that's kind of my routine in terms of repetitive thoughts and counting everything multiple times and having to do the same action over and over. So sometimes my nights consist of like just being really exhausted and going up and down the stairs 6 times, because I think that's what I need to do to make sure nobody breaks into my home.
I like that the routine is no routine for both of you. We do something with all of our guests. It's called Please Stop Asking Me. So it's the question you feel like at this point in your career, you've probably answered it quite enough. We're not saying these are good questions or these are bad questions, but it's maybe a question that pops up quite a lot. Kevin Hart recently told us to please stop asking him if he'll FaceTime one of your cousins. Like, please don't approach him when he's out in public trying to get him on FaceTime with someone. Paul, do you have a please stop asking me?
I have a couple, but I feel like if I say them, then people are just going to keep asking me about it.
When is the last time you did an interview where somebody didn't mention your appearance?
About 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
What about you, Jenna?
I guess FaceTiming is a good one, but the only reason why is because half the time you FaceTime the person and they're like waking up, they're confused, they don't know what's going on, or they're just breaking up, or there's like dead silence because maybe they're really not that excited and it's like an overeager parent. So maybe I agree with Kevin, but I don't really know. I think every circumstance is different.
Awesome. And finally, we have a point of the show where we tell a bunch of kids to go to bed. This might sound a little bit weird, but would you both mind telling me to go to bed so we can use it to send a nation of petulant kids off to beddy buys a little bit later on, please?
Is your audience children?
I mean, really, all of a sudden now I really feel like I need to answer all of my questions differently.
There is there's a cutoff point between like 7 and then 8 p.m. Yeah, yes, there are like quite a lot of kids that listen.
A lot of kids.
It is 8 p.m. I think it's time to go to bed, guys.
I know you don't want to go to bed, but I'm telling you, it's the best time to go to bed. I'm so jealous of you that you get to go to bed right now. If you've listened to all of this interview, you know for a fact, if it was up to me, I'd already be sleeping. So embrace it now while you can. Do it, guys. You'll be happy. You'll be happy that you did. You don't think you're tired, but trust me, you're exhausted. Just ask your parents.
What a pro. Jenna and Paul, we're so excited to talk to the both of you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your night.
You too.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you, Deb.
Thank you so much. Take care.